Today we're going to talk about how to first build triads using the C major scale, and then we're going to talk about how to change major triads into minor triads and minor triads into major triads. We're going to take most of our lesson from this book, our Chord Crash Course book, and I know you guys know a lot about the first part that we're going to talk about, building triads, but I feel like the more that you learn a concept in many different ways, the greater opportunity you have to understand it better. So kind of just hang in there this first part. So we're going to start with the C major scale, which is nice because there's no sharps or flats. Of course, the C major scale is C, D, so you can build a triad, which is a 3-note chord, using the root note or any note from the scale, the C major scale, as your bottom note of the chord. So first I'm gonna go over, find this book if you want to, or you can just watch this video, but you can also find this book and go along with me. It's on page 64 and 65, and we're going to talk about chords. So first off, to build a triad, you're going to start with a root note. So you could start with the C, the first note in the chord, and then you're going to do a third interval on top of that, and then a fifth interval. So I'm sure you guys remember how to do that. So for example, the C major triad, you have your, now I'm using my left hand right now because it's a little easier with the angle that I'm at. So if I was using my right hand, I'd use my first finger, but now I'm using my fifth finger because I'm using my left hand. So the root note is C, and then you do a third interval, which would be E, and then a fifth interval, which is, or a perfect fifth, which is G. You can do the same thing, of course, starting on D, do a third, which is F, and do a fifth, or perfect fifth, which is A. I know you guys already know that. So let's just do a little activity just as a reminder. So what I want you to do is just read the music, do your right hand first and play all of these triads in the right hand, and then play it with your left hand too. You can do hands together if you'd like. So what I want you to do is just first play that by reading the music, and I'll give you a few minutes to do that. Okay, if that wasn't enough time, then you can stop the video and try it. So now what I want you to do is I want you to play the triads, but I want you to say the name of the note as you're playing them. So for example, with the C major, as you say, you can say the names of the notes of the triad. So C, E, G, or if you were doing the F, it'd be F, A, C. If you're doing the G, it'd be G, B, D. Now you might find this helpful. When you name the notes of any triad in the root position, you're gonna skip one letter of the musical alphabet between each note. Okay, so what does that mean? So down here, it shows you the triad up here, and then it shows you the names of the notes that you're playing. So right here, the D triad, D, F, A. So what I was saying is you're going to skip an alphabet letter. So C, and then you're going to skip over D. So E, G. So like for your E triad, it's E, G, B. So you're just skipping over an alphabet letter. If that's confusing, don't worry about it. I just wanted to kind of, that can help you just to know what the notes are without actually having even to look at them. So one thing that's very important is to note what the third interval is in each triad. So for example, let's look at our primary or our major triads. Our major triads are C major, F major, and G major. Remember how the first and the fourth and the fifth are the major triads. So just right now for these three triads, I want you to remember what the third interval is, the name of the note. So for example, E would be the third interval for the C chord. A would be the third interval, and B would be the third interval. So if that doesn't make sense, let me show you on the keyboard. Okay, so for the C major chord, we know it's major. The E is the third interval. So remember, the E is the third interval. And then for the F major, the A is the third interval. And the G major, the B is the third interval. That's going to be important later on in our lesson, so just remember those where they are, the thirds are for each of those major chords, and the name of the note. So what I want you to do is this song, Cockles and Mussels, kind of a weird name. I want you to go over this song. It's easy sight reading, note reading. But why it's really good is in the left hand, it's going to go over pretty much all of the triads in the key of C major. This is the C major triad, this is the D, and this is the E, F, that's part of the G. It's only two of the notes. So it covers some of those triads in the key of C major. So just play through that maybe a few times. And then we're going to move on to the next part of the lesson.